Hey, it's Kimberly from the Path Illuminated. This is going to be a full moon in Scorpio message for air signs. So Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. This message is for you. We have the full moon in Scorpio on the 23rd of April. I have 3 cards out here for you. So first card out, air signs, is the 7 of Pentacles. So this has likely been and continues to be a time of deep reflection for you. You are thinking about the past. You are thinking about where you've invested your time, energy, and resources. You're thinking about, your everyday stability, right? The things that are in your 3D reality, whether it is your job, your family, your friends, your home life. You are really sitting back and thinking about, all the time, energy that I've spent on these partnerships, on these relationships, on work, on my career. Are these situations really giving me a return on my investment? Are these plants bearing fruit, right? You're really in contemplation mode, and we're still in the middle of Mercury retrograde, so that makes a lot of sense. It's a good time to be in reflection. We're in Mercury retrograde until the 25th. So it doesn't necessarily mean you need to do anything about it, but I think that this has been maybe a very sobering time of you having a reality check with regard to some of the ways in which you've invested your time, energy, and resources, air signs. Potentially some revelations have come as a result of, the eclipse portal we went through, and Mercury retrograde, where potentially there could be some friendships, relationships, maybe a job situation where you're like, I've been working at this for a really long time and I'm really not seeing the return on my investment. I feel like this particular plant is dead and I keep watering it and I'm not sure why. But also equally, right, this could be a time of you realizing that some things that you've been investing in, whether friendships or work or business or creative projects, they are starting to actually blossom at this time. So it can be a mix of both, air signs. And then we have the King of Swords. So I feel like you have been being called to be clear-minded and to also be clear in your communication. Now, that may have been challenging given the fact that we're in Mercury retrograde. So, I think that this is about you likely, again, being in this contemplative mode, air signs, that there might be some situations where you're starting to realize and take accountability for the fact that maybe your communication with your friends, with your family, with coworkers hasn't been clear enough. And it's giving me the vibes of closed mouths don't get fed. You can't expect other people to read your mind, air signs. So if you have not communicated a boundary to a friend, a family member, or a coworker, you can't expect them to give you that level of respect or to know what your needs are. So if there have been, right, those revelations to you where things are out of balance and you're not getting the energy or the return that you feel like you've been putting in, I feel like you're being called to get clear in your mind first about what needs to change, and then gathering the will and the confidence to speak your truth, to be clear about your boundaries, and to not be afraid to draw a line in the sand. This may be something that you've been sort of grappling with, struggling with, because you may be a little bit hesitant to, make waves for whatever reason. It's going to be very individual for each of you, air signs. But this is telling me to step into your authority, air signs. Don't be afraid to speak your truth. Know that anybody that is meant to be in your life, whether it's family, friend, lover, coworker, right? Like, they're going to respect you for respecting yourself and for communicating your needs, your boundaries, your limits, right? Have confidence. If you're clear in your mind, it will be easier for you to be clear in your communication. And that also has to do with being clear with your intentions. Now, we have 9 of Wands here, which is definitely related to Chiron and the wounded warrior energy. Chiron has been all up in the mix of these transits lately. And like I said, you know, we went through this eclipse portal and we've been in the middle of Mercury retrograde. And now we have this, you know, full moon in Scorpio on the 23rd. And so this is recognizing that this has been a long time coming, air signs. I don't know. I'm getting the sense that even though you are air signs and you are known for communication, this message is for the individuals that have struggled with clear communication, right? There may be some conditioning, programming, childhood, you know, trauma that has caused you to be afraid to make waves, to speak up for your needs, to ask for support. You are so used to doing things alone, by yourself, without the need of others. And I think it's time to acknowledge, air signs, that you're feeling a bit burnt out. And at the same time, the universe does want to acknowledge you've been doing a lot of work on your own and you've been making it happen. And I do think that the next step for you in this process, so that you can end this old cycle of not speaking clearly, right? And sometimes we can tend to do that where we're passive aggressive in our communication because we're afraid of the reaction of the other person, whether it's a family member, a friend, a lover, a coworker, a manager, right? We can sort of hint at what we are seeking or our you know, our needs, our boundaries, but we don't say it clearly. And this may be because you were conditioned to believe that you couldn't ask for what you want. And the universe is saying, no, this is something for you to acknowledge, right? And it's not going to necessarily be easy. Speaking your truth is not easy necessarily, air signs. It actually takes a tremendous amount of courage. But understand that you are coming to the end of this cycle, and it's time for you to own how much work you've done and the fact that you are very, very deserving of your needs being met, of having support, and of people respecting your boundaries, whether friend, family, lover, or coworker. So I would say, air signs, with this full moon in Scorpio on the 23rd, if you have fears about making waves, if you have fears about being judged or criticized or, you know, rejected because you are leaning into this, you know, honest, clear communication, give that to the universe and ask the universe to help you in releasing that burden that you may have taken upon yourself. Because at the end of the day, it's great if you're considerate of other people, air signs, but you cannot prioritize the feelings of other people over your own, because otherwise, right, closed mouths don't get fed. This is about you leaning into asking for what you need so that you can learn who is actually going to respond and return and who is worth letting go. So hope these messages resonated for you, air signs. Don't forget to click the link in my bio if you want to check out my April energy readings on YouTube or to book a one-on-one personal reading with me. All right, happy full moon.